just made a rubble!
How did that happen?
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum.
A new trailer for One Piece Odyssey was released, and I wanted to ramble on about it, so here we go. We're told in the first line that it's a story about memories, which will come into play at the end. We receive this narration by an unknown voice.
はるか昔、その島は突然海の上に現れたという。
He tells us Wofford is this mysterious island that just seemed to appear one day. The people who had sailed there would end up shipwrecked due to the maelstroms surrounding the island, setting up what happened to the Straw Hats in the previous trailer. An unnamed pirate claimed to have sailed there and returned, spotting a giant and a girl. We won't see this giant anywhere else in the trailer, so I suspect a tragic backstory for the young girl will take place. Almost guaranteed. Not unlike Robin's flashback with Saul, I'm gonna guess. Or it could be completely original for all I know, but we haven't given enough, right? But I'm going to say it will definitely be friendly based on the number of giants that thankfully end up on the Straw Hat's side in past events. Regardless, this unnamed pirate is captured by the Navy before he can tell us more. So far, we're missing any motivation to visit the island other than just pure curiosity, which would fit Luffy to a T, to be honest. Though based on Robin's lines, I suppose the implication is that we just got swept up here onto the island by accident. While I was researching clips for the video, I completely missed out on another trailer. Luckily, it wasn't very substantive, just a few lines here and there. It was more just an introduction to the Straw Hat crew themselves. Importantly though, in relation to this trailer, based on Luffy's lines, it does appear to be just a coincidence that they ended up on this island. Back to the trailer at hand. During a montage of Wofford, what appears to be the same girl from the story introduces herself as Lim. She touches Luffy's chest and we see these green cubes fly out of everyone, and she lets them know their powers have been sealed. So first off, I suspect it's a devil fruit ability, but no confirmation on that. Either way, it's pretty OP. It's pretty powerful. I gotta point out this affects non-devil fruit users as well. We're not given any specifics on whether this means strength, speed, or skill, or all of the above. No context whatsoever. But I suppose we know why this happens, or at least in a meta sense, we understand the game will have turn-based combat and we need the characters to all start at a certain power level, where Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are not just gonna blast through all the enemies as they would in any other situation. It's interesting that they would choose to even address this fact. I mean, it's pretty obvious that all the characters are at different power levels. Surprising they just wouldn't ignore it entirely. I suppose we couldn't have a Dragon Ball RPG where Goku blasts through all the enemies and makes it to the end boss in 5 minutes, which would happen if we took his power level into consideration. We get confirmation of tragedy when we see the grave. It might be ceremonial for the giant. I'm not suggesting she actually buried the giant underneath there. That would be pretty impressive if she were capable of that. Or, you know, it could be someone completely different, like her parent. She never specifies, so could be a neat little twist there if the giant's still around. She gives us a line implying that the death was caused by pirates, thus her distrustful nature towards them. And just to cut in the middle, as they're about to fight what looks like a boss, the long silver-haired guy jumps in to attack. Lim seems to have warmed up to them, but it doesn't appear as if she can just give them their powers back. And the big guy lets them know that they need to collect the cubes to get their full strength back. After a change of heart, Lim also helps out, I guess, by unlocking these cubes, revealing a Straw Hat's memory. We're transported to Alabasta. You can recognize the architecture immediately, where we witness Vivi crying. Can't confirm whether this is a reaction to being reunited with the Straw Hats, or if this is meant to be recreating a scene during the rebels' attack on the kingdom. If I'd have to guess, I'd probably say it's the latter, considering the DLC of the crew's pre-time skip outfits. Maybe we're meant to play along as if, like, again, it's a memory, so I doubt there's going to be new content, the way it's phrased. I can say I feel justified for being cautiously optimistic. Personally, I can't say I'm looking forward to this if all it's going to be is a Disney theme park version of One Piece. I'd rather they had just start from the beginning at Romance Dawn and East Blue and work their way forward, if that was the case, instead of, do you remember the time we fought Don Krieg? Do you remember the time we went to Dinosaur Island? Do you remember the time your adopted mother was executed?
大好き
I was originally thinking about how the developers were going to make this island diverse and interesting in the vein of something like Mario Odyssey or Kirby Land, but now we have our answer. Not to say that they can't do anything interesting with the story or the world, or that their combat won't be good. However, it does narrow the target audience to just those who kept up with One Piece to this point, which is fair enough. They know who they want to impress. But speaking of combat, there was a 20-minute demo floating around. The mechanics were interesting, and I saw people compare it with Dragon Quest XI and Final Fantasy X. I believe the Dragon Quest comparisons were due to the look of the game and unlocking skills, while the Final Fantasy X comparison was due to being able to switch party members on the fly and their melee and long-ranged attacks. Then it will have its own mechanics as well, where your party will be split up, fighting in different groups all at the same time. And to add to that, they'll also have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic, meaning each enemy will be weak to certain attacks. Traversing around the world looks a little stiff, but still had a mostly positive outlook on the game. So despite my thoughts on the angle the story is taking, I'm looking forward to playing the game more than anything. This being an RPG though, you'll have to make of that what you will. That's all for now though.
Tell me, does he give you nice doggy biscuits when he wants you to play fetch?
And you, all bark, no bite.
Woof, woof, woof.
You're not funny.